Dynamic assessment. In this part of the movement screen, we'll be doing dynamic assessment. The purpose of the dynamic assessment is to identify dysfunctional movement patterns that may eventually lead to injury. Overhead squat. The overhead squat assessment provides valuable information on an athlete's mobility and can help the assessor identify muscle imbalances and restrictions in movement. 1. Begin by standing with feet shoulder width apart, toes oriented straight ahead. 2. Position the upper body with the shoulders flexed overhead with elbows fully extended and palms facing inward toward each other to ensure a neutral shoulder joint position. 3. Slowly squat down by bending at the knees and hips, keeping your back straight and chest up. 4. Make sure knees line up over the second and third toes. 5. As you lower your body, keep your arms extended above your head and maintain your arms overhead as straight as possible. 6. Lower your body until your thighs are parallel to the ground or lower if you have the flexibility. Keep your knees in line with your toes and your weight in your heels. 7. Once full depth has been reached, with about 110 to 120 degrees of hip flexion, you can return to starting position. 8. Repeat this movement 3 times in the anterior view and 3 times in the lateral view. Single leg 60-degree squat. The purpose of the single leg squat assessment is to allow the assessor to identify muscle imbalances or dysfunctional movement patterns that may increase the athlete's risk of lower extremity injury on a single side of the body. 1. Start by standing on your leg, known as the stance leg, with hands on hips and eyes focused forward. 2. The stance foot should be pointed straight ahead, and the foot, ankle, and knee should be in line as with the standing position. 3. The non-stance knee should be flexed with the foot next to, but not touching, the stance limb's calf. 4. Lower your body by bending your stance knee and hip, keeping your back straight and chest up. 5. Squat as deep as is comfortable, and while maintaining control, then return to the starting position. 6. Repeat this movement 3 times in the anterior view and 3 times in the lateral view. Hinge test. The hinge test is conducted with a Romanian deadlift, or RDL. The RDL is an exercise used by assessors to identify muscle imbalances and dysfunctional movement patterns that may increase risk of injury. The purpose of using the hinge test is to evaluate the technique, range of motion, and stability at the trunk during the hinging motion. 1. Begin by holding an Olympic bar with hands in front of your thighs and an overhand grip. 2. Your feet should be hip width apart, toes pointing forward, and knees bent slightly. 3. Slowly hinge forward at your hips, pushing your glutes back while keeping your back straight. 4. Lower the weight towards the floor, maintaining a slight bend in your knees and keeping weight close to your body. 5. Lower the weight until you feel a stretch in your hamstrings or until your back begins to round, exhaling as you return back to the starting position. 6. Maintain a straight back and neutral spine throughout the movement. 7. Repeat this movement 3 times in the anterior view and 3 times in lateral view. Static flexibility testing. In this part of the movement screen, we'll be doing the static assessment. The purposes of the static assessment are to identify restrictions in range of motion and to compare sides with regard to flexibility. Thomas test. The Thomas test is an assessment commonly used to evaluate the flexibility of the hips flexors. The test goes as follows. 1. Lie down on a table with your buttocks on the edge and your legs hanging off. 2. Pull one knee into your chest and hold it with both hands. Relax your leg off the end of the table. 3. Tuck your chin to your chest to flatten your lower back against the table. 4. Repeat the test on the other leg. Straight leg raise test. The straight leg raise test is used to evaluate the flexibility of your hamstrings. The test goes as follows. 1. Lie down on your back on a table. 2. Start with both legs straight and extended flat on the table. 3. Slowly lift the one leg off the table, keeping your knee straight and your ankle maximally flexed. 4. Raise your leg towards your nose until it reaches a point where you feel a stretch or tension in your hamstring or the back of your thigh. Keep your toes pointed towards your head. 5. Hold the position for 3 seconds, then slowly lower your leg back down to the table. 6. Repeat the movement on the other leg. Hip abduction. Hip abduction test is used to evaluate the flexibility of your hip abductors. The test goes as follows. 1. Lie down on your side on the table. Keep your shoulders on the table and support your head with a bolster or pillow. 2. Start with your legs extended straight out, your feet stacked on top of each other, and your toes facing forward. 3. Lift your top leg up towards the ceiling, keeping your legs straight and your toes pointed forward. 4. Pause at top of the movement for 2 seconds before bringing the leg down slowly. 5. Return to the starting position, keeping it straight and controlled. 6. Repeat the movement on the other leg. Ankle dorsiflexion with a straight knee. Ankle dorsiflexion with a straight knee is used to evaluate the flexibility of a calf muscle, the gastrocnemius. The test goes as follows. 1. Begin by sitting down on the table. 2. Start with your legs extended out in front of you with your feet relaxed. 3. Bend your ankles so your toes move forward towards your face as much as possible and hold for 2 seconds. 4. Bring toes back to starting relaxed position. 5. Repeat the movement on the other leg. Ankle dorsiflexion with knee bent to 70 degrees. Ankle dorsiflexion with the knee bent to 70 degrees is used to evaluate the flexibility of another calf muscle, the soleus. The test goes as follows. 1. Begin by sitting down on the table. 2. Start with your leg bent at 70 degrees out in front of you with your foot relaxed. 3. Bend your ankles so your toes move forward towards your face as much as possible and hold for 2 seconds. 4. Bring toes back to starting relaxed position. 5. Repeat the movement on the other leg. Shoulder flexion. Shoulder flexion is used to evaluate the flexibility of your shoulder. The test goes as follows. 1. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart and your arms hanging down by your sides. 2. Maintain good posture, keeping your chest up and your shoulders down and relaxed. 3. Slowly raise one arm forward and upward towards the ceiling with the elbow extended. 4. Raise your arm until it cannot go any further without moving other parts of your body. 5. Hold the top position for 2 seconds. 6. Slowly lower your arms back down to the starting position. 7. Repeat the movement on the other arm. Shoulder extension. Shoulder extension is used to evaluate the flexibility of your shoulder. The test goes as follows. 1. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart and your arms hanging down by your sides. 2. Maintain good posture, keeping your chest up and your shoulders down and relaxed. 3. Slowly pull your arm up behind your body with the elbow extended. 4. Continue to pull your arms back until you cannot go any further without moving other parts of your body. 5. Hold the position for 2 seconds. 6. Slowly lower your arms back down to the starting position. 7. Repeat the movement on the other arm. Hip internal and external rotation. The hip internal and external rotation tests are used to assess the flexibility of your hips. The setup is the same for both movements. The instructions are as follows. 1. Begin by sitting down at the end of the table with the knees hanging off. 2. For internal hip rotation, rotate the foot away from the center of the body without raising your hip. 3. Repeat the same movement for the other leg. 4. For the external hip rotation, rotate the foot towards the center of the body without raising your hip. 5. Repeat the same movement for the other leg. Conclusion. Now the assessor should be able to conduct the movement screen. The athlete should have a better understanding of how to perform the movements and why they're important. Thanks for watching.